Hello, welcome to Star Wars Spelt Out. I'm your host, Josh Chapman, and today, the road to celebration, it just keeps on rolling, and we've just had so many awesome guests so far, and we've got another one, and, oh man, Force Toast, nothing but Force Toast. I always bust this song out when I have a Force Toast person on. Laura from Force Toast is here. Hello.
Hello, Josh. Thanks for having me. This is great. I'm enjoying the song. You can keep going if you want. Just keep singing. We got a whole hour.
I don't have any more words. Yeah. Wow, that'd be worth it. All the Force Toast fans tune in. It's just me absolutely self-indulging on the mic. So we don't have your little buddy, your sidekick here, Alice. She actually came on the podcast last time by herself, and I think I referred to you as her sidekick last time. So I think it evens out,
Yeah,
so I think whoever's here, the other one's the sidekick.
We're each other's sidekick. It's a beautiful relationship.
Yeah, it would have worked a lot better for Batman and Robin if they'd been a little more, more accommodating.
Yeah, a little more balanced.
Yeah. That's why Batman went through so many Robins. They just couldn't handle being called a sidekick all the time. Like, when's it my turn? When they're on podcasts. When Robin would be on a podcast and they'd talk about him being Batman's sidekick.
Love it.
How's it going? How's Chicago?
Chicago's good. I'm sure nobody misses it from Star Wars Celebration 2019 because, like 2019, it fucking snowed here in April. I'm like, why?
Oh, did it again?
Why do I live here? Yeah, it's the worst. Today it's beautiful. It's like 60, 65 degrees Fahrenheit here today, so it's gorgeous, but it did rain all day. But yeah, no, I'm sure, Anaheim, we all lucked out in terms of weather there. I mean, Memorial Day, it's going to be beautiful, right?
I hope so. I've followed down the rabbit hole. We've got this channel, this free digital channel here in Australia called Life Channel or something, because we're beginning the process of renovating our house, and it's all just middle-class Americans flipping houses and middle-class Americans selling houses. It's all these reality shows. And there was one the other day called House Hunters, and there was a guy in it who was looking for a place in Chicago. And, he was looking for an apartment, whatever. And he just went outside and it was the weather. I'm like, wow, there it is.
Yep.
There's that Chicago weather I remember so well.
Don't miss it. I don't blame you.
Well, he went for the vintage style in close to the city with the view, but the train was out the front. Just for anybody.
Gotcha. See, that's why I'm in Logan Square in Chicago, and our train station's underground. So I'm a 2-minute walk from the train. It's real easy, but I don't have to hear it. So It's a total advantage.
Well, it's like the Blues Brothers, which is set in Chicago, and it's Elwood. He has the train out the front. And they go, "How often does the train go by?" So often you won't even notice it. Bang! It all comes around.
Yep.
So your celebration this time, I know we met very briefly at Celebration last time. Probably got to know each other more post Celebration through podcasting and blah 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 blah. You're another punter at Celebration. You're kind of like a lower tier Star Wars celebrity now. Are you prepared for the getting stopped in the street at Celebration or going, hey?
Oh God, I hope that's overkill. No, I can't imagine that would be the case. I'll be we're all going to be in masks, even if it was true, which I don't think it is. We're all going to be covered up. Nobody's unless I'm posting a picture in the morning where I'm just this is what I look like with my mask on today. Come say hi,
Laura,
which I may or may not do. Yeah, but it's. Exactly. I've got my credentials on my t-shirt. That's the only way to do it. I'm just fully expecting people to come up to me and talk to me and me have no idea who they are because they have a mask on. And I'm all I get is this one little 1-inch part of your face. That's not enough for me to know who you are.
Is it worth either contracting COVID, giving somebody COVID, or getting told off by security on the off chance that you might get recognized and have that moment of is this what it feels like to be Daisy Ridley?
That would be beautiful. It would be, I've been out to LA a couple of times for Schmodown things, and it's a whole different world for me. I mean, that's where it is where people want to take their picture with you. And it's just I can't believe that this is what my life is this weekend while I'm in town. It's just so crazy and so weird still, but it's great. I mean, it's so much fun. So it's been the greatest way for me to make new friends in this realm is, all of the people who are oh, do you want to help studying for Star Wars trivia? I'm hell yeah, I do. Do you have any idea how hard this stuff is? Hop on, let's do it.
So you're fully still, is this your Olympics? Like, I've been like, we'll get into the schedule and stuff soon and things. Like, I assume that Star Wars Celebration is kind of like the Star Wars Trivia Olympics a little bit. You know, like there's meets and stuff as you lead up, but every few years there's like the one that you're actually like, hey, this is the one I strive for.
You know, I wish that was the case because it has been kind of that way. At least it was for Star Wars Celebration 2019 in Chicago. Like that was, at that point, Alice and I were just still going to like bar trivias in Chicago. And that was kind of the first big stage that either of us appeared on for a Star Wars trivia event. So that was crazy. But weirdly enough, and, you know, I might just be out of the loop, which wouldn't be a surprise to me at all. But when I looked at the panelists, like there was no Schmodown panel on it. So I don't know if they're doing anything actually in conjunction with Celebration, which is crazy. But again, I could just be out of the
Yeah, I thought that like it would already be like, hey, this is the big one. We work towards this. This is like the Olympics, you know, like, and like you said, you used to start off with like Mortal Kombat. You guys are like fighting in alleyways and bars before for money in cages for drunks. And now all of a sudden you're in the big time, you know, you're in Madison Square Gardens kind of thing, fighting the champ, taking that damn Alex Damon down. Is he still champ? Is he still reigning champ?
No, he's not actually. He got taken down, I think, last year by... Oh God, was it Andrew DeMolanta may have beat him? But right now, Thomas Harper is our reigning champion. Really? And I think the Star Wars division is sort of gearing up now for some of the matches to start airing with the Schmodown and with their Patreon account. But this is my fourth season, so I'm pretty tired. And I think the last match I played, I think was something like in September or something. And by that time it was like my fourth match of the year and I was just exhausted. So I'm kind of grateful that I don't have any kind of trivia obligations in conjunction with Celebration coming up, because it really does it's a huge distraction, you know, to like prepare for those matches and to like make sure I'm sitting down and really getting my like cram session ins for studying. This is going to be, I think, really nice because I won't have that hanging over my head. So I'm looking forward to this Celebration a lot.
Yeah. Like I chose a vocation in, you know, arts and digital and creativity because I was a terrible studier and I didn't like studying and I hated maths and I liked English. English was good, but the idea of like studying for fun, you know, I know more Star Wars than the men on the street, but I certainly can't wrestle with you guys. And I'm like, oh, that's fine. I don't need to, you know, I don't need to do that. But I always admire the stuff, like whether I've chatted to you or Alex or Molly, or it's like another level of things. But maybe it's just maybe it's the fake out. Maybe you're going to get there and they're going to be like, what do they call it in America? Pop quiz. Oh, that's an expression that we don't have in Australia, that we always get from American television, like pop quiz, which means like a quiz that you didn't know. Maybe that's the thing. They'll be like 24 hours out. They'll go, if you're at the Celebration, we're doing no study. This is the thing. You come in raw. It's all about what's up in the noggin.
Yeah, that would be intense, but again, it would avoid the whole thing of like, I can't stay out at this bar all night drinking with all of my podcast friends. I have to like go to bed early and be fresh when I wake up to study for trivia. Although, what happened in the last Celebration was that I was out all night the night before, or 2 days before the match, just out at bars and stuff with friends for Star Wars Celebration who were all in town. And the next day I was so hungover, I barely left the hotel room, and all I did was like lay in bed and just study my like Star Wars materials for the match the next day. So I went in pretty fresh. But yeah, I definitely learned my lesson where, that's like the thing where it's different, where they're not doing you have to camp out all night if you want to be in the big panels. Like now we have the freedom to be out drinking all night at the bars. And I'm like, okay, I'm not sure if this was an improvement, but
well, at least I didn't get in your head then and go, maybe they will do a snap one. Maybe I should start studying now. You're just like, I'll wing it. I've winged it before. Yep. If something happens, no problem. So when are you getting in? Are you getting in the day before? Are you getting a few days before, or what's your movements? You don't have to
so hopefully they don't. No, that's okay. Hopefully they don't change my flight again. My flight's already been changed once, but right now I'm supposed to get in Wednesday afternoon. So I booked my flight a while back, and it was supposed to be like later on Wednesday, but now it's Wednesday at like noon or something I get in. And I was listening listening to your episode with Iraj and Les, and they were like, avoid flying into LAX if you can. And I'm like, whoops. Like,
yeah,
I mean,
I don't have any choice because that's where all the international. And it's really weird because I was thinking about it. And after I did the podcast with those guys, I kept ticking in my brain about like, what can I do here? Like, how can I beat the system? How much preparation can I do to get this as organized as possible? And then I was like, oh, maybe I could hire a car and I could do that. And I was doing the maths going, maybe it'll be cheaper to drive there and drive back. And I'm going, it's all on the wrong side of the road. No, let's not do that. That's crazy. Like, And I just found myself walking around cursing, like, bloody LA, they're so crap. They haven't got a train to here. They don't do this. They don't do that. And then I stopped and I just thought for a second about Melbourne, where I'm from. And I went, oh, we don't have a train to the station either. I'm literally taking an Uber from my house to it's exactly just as bad. And it'll probably take just as long just because I've got to cross the other side of the city to get to the airport from where I live. So, I mean, I know it's not ideal, but it's stupid that somehow I'm just blaming LA for being rubbish when my own city is just as rubbish. So
I know we were all lucky in Chicago where we've got our trains that go to and from both of our airports, and it just works out, and it's a great system. I get so frustrated every time I have to fly into New York. I'm like, I don't know why this city was not planned better, but whatever.
But I think it'll be Europe, and it's just like everything, it's
right?
train everywhere. It's just Anyway,
exactly.
So I get in Tuesday night, and then we're going to Disneyland on Wednesday. So the first time for me to go to Disneyland. So that'll be interesting, me sending photos to my kids of Dad at Disneyland without them.
Very cool.
Just like, hey, there's me and Elsa. All right. Meet your heroes.
Oh, that's amazing. That'll be fun, though. I went to Disneyland once when I was 18, and I haven't been back. But I didn't get tickets to the Star Wars night thing, and I don't really want to. So I'll be happy.
Yeah, we got them just because we weren't quite sure how long we'd be here if we'd have a chance to go otherwise, and it's not like we can just
one in Rome, you're not hopping over to Anaheim and just
so we're going to go on the Friday night, but we're going to go on the Wednesday. I think Wednesday I might even I'm not quite sure how it works, but I'm actually tempted to go do all the Star Wars stuff on the Wednesday rather than go on the Star Wars night with all the Star Wars people.
I know. It's like all those people are just going to be crammed into Galaxy's Edge.
Well, that's what I thought. Like if do Star Wars, if I do Star Wars on Wednesday and sort of, run those rides and have a look at that. And then I'm quite happy to cruise around the rest of the empty park the next time, or the semi-empty park, and go, all right, let's ride the teacups again. Let's do Space Mountain. Like, my references are so old because I don't know what else is there. Like, I assume they do teacups. I don't know.
I think they do, but hey, man, that's strategy. That's the way to go. I think you're doing it right, to be honest.
Yeah, I hope so. Are you Airbnb-ing it? Are you hoteling it? Did you get in the block?
Yeah, I got a room in the block. So I lucked out, and I by me, I mean, of course, Alice lucked out because she's the one who gets lucky with these kinds of things, and it's never me. So we were both trying. I remember when they put the hotel block out, but we got in.
So is Alice coming or not? I know she was on the fence.
She's not. No. Yeah, she was on the fence, but I think at this point it's pretty much all but an official no. Which is too bad.
We'd sort of traded a couple of messages a little while back, and she was like, "Oh, I don't know." And it's been tricky. I mean, that's been the biggest bummer, is just seeing people going, "Hey, I'm selling my celebration ticket. I can't come."
I know.
And and there's got to be a good maybe 10 people, I think, last year who we spent some quality time with who won't be there, which is really going to suck. But at the same time, it's like, well, new friends coming, this person's coming who didn't come last time. I'll get to see this person more and hang out with this person. So I think I might have even said this on one of the podcasts. I think it'll be like, we sort of had our crew that we stuck quite close to. I think it'll be a little bit more, hey, there's lots of people and there's this and this, but I don't know. It'll be fun regardless.
Yeah, exactly. And, I noticed that they kind of reopened the room block the other day, and there were a lot of rooms that were still available. I was actually really surprised because that block sold out, I thought, really quickly when they first opened it up. So there must have been a lot of people.
Well, I cancelled a block. We'd ordered, me and my friend Catherine both got rooms in the blocks because we didn't quite know. We thought, well, that'll be the easiest to cancel if we can't get over, because we didn't have to put any money up front, basically. So it was like, well... Yeah. Because we're like, well, happy to commit, but given the way the world is, we've already had to cancel a whole bunch of shit before. Like, we cancelled the Airbnb for 2019 and we got all the money back, but it was like, it took months and months and months. So I thought, okay, we'll do that and we'll have them so we have them. And then when the date got moved, I thought, well, an Airbnb would actually be better. It'll be closer to some friends. We've got a few of us, so it'll be a bit more cost effective, especially if we've got to spend thousands of getting over here. And then we got the Airbnb and we're like, so we only just cancelled it because I think we had up until the like the day before to get rid of it, but they were like, oh, if you don't do it before the 25th of April, you may incur a fee, which could mean anything. So I thought, oh, look, I'll just that's so vague. It could be $1. It could be anything. So, that'd be exciting. Like, I can definitely see the appeal of being like right next to the convention. Did you do that for Chicago? Oh no, you would have been home at Chicago. Surely.
Yeah, well, that's, you would think that, but Alice and I are both on the north side of the city, and McCormick Place is like so far south that we were just like, let's just make this easier on ourselves, and we ended up getting a room at the Hilton, or maybe it was the Hyatt, whatever was actually attached to the convention center. And it worked out really well. It was really nice, like not having to go back and forth all day, because they do our Chicago Comic Con there too. And every year I do the back and forth thing. And every year I'm just like, this is so stupid. I mean, these Ubers are so expensive. I might as well just like make this easier on myself and stay. So our dumb bougie butts did that. And then this year I'll be, I'm in the room block, but I'm not connected to the hotel or the convention center, but I'm in the vicinity,
He's got to walk across the road or something, or
yeah. I'm just like, I have to go outside. Ew, didn't have to do that in Anaheim.
Like, oh wait, it's sunny. It's not snowing everywhere else in the world. It will be okay to go outside.
Advantages, yeah, exactly. Hopefully, it's not too hot. That's my worry now.
I think I have to check my list. I'm just whether you. I think you took a beanie, didn't you, this year?
I did.
My beat, yeah, which is going to be completely pointless in Anaheim because it's going to be hot. But it'll be a nice keepsake nonetheless. But I'm kind of hoping they turn up in the next week or so. They're supposed to turn up. If I get to like a week, or if I get 2 weeks out from Celebration, they don't turn up. That's going to be a bit of a problem. I'm going to have to start making some phone calls because they're only really good for this. That like I can't. They're not relevant for anything else. If they turn up after the event, they're just like, what am I going to do with them? I'll just have to knit them into a blanket or something.
Yeah, no, that's okay. There'll be other celebrations, and they'll maybe be in a colder setting. I don't know. I'm kind of waiting for them to like go back to Europe. I'm wondering almost if they'll do another European celebration at some point soon. Yeah,
I've been thinking about that. And like, they always sort of toss around Europe, and they always toss around Japan. Even Sydney's been tossed around a couple of times. That would be annoying because it's great that it's in Australia, but Sydney is still like a 10-hour drive from Melbourne.
Oh,
so
really?
It's not like you can just pop over. Like you'd still have to commit and hotel and do everything like that. But it would be, it'd be cool to have it in your hometown. But I think it'd be a bit of a mission. I don't think you get too many people from the US coming over if it was in Sydney. I think it's a lot.
I would be there. I will drop everything and do anything to go to Star Wars Celebration.
Boom.
So I would be 100% down.
At least I can say if it comes to Sydney, I'm like, well, Laura's down. So at least that's the gold standard everybody else has to be held to, which is
that'll be the year that they approve me for the damn media pass. They'll be like, well, she's like one of 5 people that's actually going
from the US who came.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah, I know. I saw my friend Charlie Ashby from Imperial Senate. He got it, which was good. But I think he actually has like a journalism degree and stuff as well, and does he's not just a low-level podcaster or a low-level Star Wars celebrity.
He's legit. Yeah,
he's somewhat legit. So I thought we'd talk panels. Saturday night, we're talking panels. That's a reference to an old Australian football rules show called Talking Footy that you would not know what that is, but
all the
Australian listeners would get that right now. Like, I don't know what that sport is. I don't know what show that is. I don't know what you're talking about. What was your initial feeling on the panels? Did you there's a little bit of like, I'm sensing a little bit of underwhelmedness. However, thinking back to Chicago, it feels kind of on par. Apart from episode 9, obviously no movie, but that's not really Celebration's fault.
Yeah, no, I think that when I think back to Celebration Chicago, and I remember like how upset I was that they were doing the lottery system, because I was like, I will camp out, I will do anything, I want to be in the room, I want to be first to see all the things. And this year, it's just, I'm approaching it really differently, because I'm just like, now my priority is just to like see all my friends that are going to be at Celebration that I haven't seen since 2019. So that's what I'm looking forward to the most. And I think honestly, I'm like looking forward to like the publishing and all of the books panels much more so even than like the big panels that are happening on the Celebration stage. But I think that there are probably going to be some big reveals. Like people are probably underwhelmed looking at it now, but I have a feeling there's going to be some big stuff that they drop at some of those. So I'm kind of surprised how underwhelmed people are, but like that Attack of the Clones 20th anniversary, like that'll be really fun. And I don't know who would be underwhelmed by that. If you're an Attack of the Clones fan or a prequel fan, that's the Olympics.
I think it's off the back of the Phantom Menace one that people got underwhelmed on that. And that wasn't, I was in that panel and that was a little unfair because it was fine for what it was, but everybody got worked up that Ewan McGregor was going to turn up and there was no indication that was ever going to happen. Now we know Ewan McGregor's at this celebration, so the chances are no guarantees. I mean, I sat on this podcast about 3 weeks ago and declared that there was no way in hell he would ever do autographs and photographs. He's too big time. There is no way. Wouldn't happen. Forget it. And of course, he's doing it, and here we are. Yeah. So surely he could take an hour out of his day, and especially if Hayden Christensen turns up. I know that's sort of, if Hayden Christensen turns up and Ewan McGregor are on that panel, all of a sudden it becomes the second biggest panel at Celebration.
Oh yeah,
behind the future one.
Sure. Yeah.
So everybody's tune changes pretty quickly.
Yeah, I keep waiting for like Natalie Portman to show up at one of these, and I think that's like definitely hoping for too much. But
she's the great white whale of Star Wars, isn't
she?
Would be. She's the last great holdout of Star Wars now, isn't? Like literally everybody's come back. I mean, Liam Neeson, okay, maybe not, but like as far as like even Harrison Ford came back. Like
I know, right?
So she came back to Marvel, and I think she'd spawn off Marvel. So anything's possible.
Yeah, maybe that's their kind of putting the feelers out, is bringing her back in Marvel so Disney can just kind of, they have a closer eye on her now. And I'm like, come on, one of these days we'll get her back at Celebration. I mean, think about like all of that SNL skit that they did about like her most recent rap. I'm just like, how awesome would that be to have her back? Just making any reference to that whatsoever would be so great.
I guess it's tricky. In the case of Padme, let's veer off. Why not? Obviously they killed her off in her prime, so it does make it harder to bring her back. Just because the character's got a particularly short lifespan, and she's only alive up until she's 25, and Natalie Portman's probably in her late 30s by now, maybe early 40s and things. So, I mean, I know she still pretty much looks the same, but it does get trickier. Like, what do you do? How do you work that in a little bit? She doesn't have the luxury of sitting in the desert for 20 years and coming out, but come on.
Exactly. But think about how cool it would be even if they don't bring her back as Padme. Like, you could totally bring her back as Sabe. I mean, like, it'd be cool to bring Keira Knightley back as Sabe, but I'm like, if the point is that they were supposed to look alike and you want to bring one of them back, I feel like Natalie Portman would also be a good choice for Sabe. That's all I'm saying.
I have been in a pub the same time as Keira Knightley, and
really?
Actually, now I think about it, I've been in a pub the same time as Keira Knightley and Rose Byrne, not at the same time, but that's two handmaidens,
right?
There. This is with not at the same time, like I said, but Would you sacrifice canon breaking upon itself and the earth-shatteringly head messiness of bringing Padme back from the dead to get Natalie Portman back in a Star Wars? If they were just like, actually, she wasn't dead all along.
No, I would not. I'm like, that's
too much study.
That's where like the canon junkie in me is just like, no, there is only one way to do this, and it is to stay loyal to the one story. Don't any of you dare.
I mean, I like you, Natalie, but I'd rather have a 41-year-old Natalie Portman playing a 15-year-old Padme again than have her play herself at her current age.
Yeah, no way. But yeah, I think like Sabe could work. That's all I'm saying. Putting it out there into the universe.
She's in the comics at the moment. I'm not totally caught up on the comics, but every time I dip back in, she's run around giving Vader some grief, which is always quite interesting.
It's beautiful.
So let's go to the top. I'm not going to go and like deep dive on this. Let's just chat about the ones that I find interesting. Okay, this Lucasfilm Studio showcase thing Thursday. This is the big kickoff one, an hour and a half on the celebration stage. I mean, this is the one that basically sets the standards for everything else. So pretty much whatever gets talked about or not talked about in this one is kind of going to influence what happens the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, I think you're right, and it'll be. This will be really interesting, I think, to see who oh my God, I just got a weather alert and I was like, because we're under like a tornado watch at the moment. And I'm like, oh no, I hope it didn't just like morph into a warning. But no, it didn't. Sorry, distraction. But no,
That's
I think
okay.
this is going to be one of those things where I think there's going to be some interesting things revealed. And I think we're going to get like, probably a trailer or something would be really predictable. But I think the thing that would not be predictable would be like seeing an actual episode or like half of an episode, like even 10 minutes of something. Like that's going to be the thing to go to get to see a big reveal like that. Like the biggest reveal, I think, of all of Celebration will probably happen at that one.
Yep. And it's weird though, because it's like they're doing Obi-Wan and then Obi-Wan comes out that night. So why not just save your Obi-Wan chat for the next day rather than being like, we can't tell you anything, you'll have to wait 4 more hours or whatever it is. Like it seems kind of dumb. Like if they show an episode after, all right, well, maybe that's worth hanging around for, which I think that they might do. And then they've got the second one in their pocket, so people still will get up and watch it. Of course, they're going to watch it.
Exactly. And Disney Plus can still get all its views.
Yeah. And I think not that I have any idea, but I think the first episode will very likely be a lot of sitting around the desert having a bad time. And then there'll be a little sting at the end where the adventure kicks off. So it's not like, people are going to spoil and go, oh my God, I saw Obi-Wan and he's having a rough time in Tatooine. That's about it. And then the second one, the story will go. And then they're doing the Mandalorian panel thing on the Saturday anyway. So why don't you just hold all your powder for the Mandalorian till then and then talk about all the stuff that we don't know about. So, I mean, Andor is the one that's coming out soonest. Shout out to our friend Catherine, who's the world's biggest Andor fan, who's convinced, is sure that there'll be a trailer, but can somehow convince herself that there won't be a trailer just because she doesn't want to get her hopes up. But of course there will be a trailer. And then we've got stuff like The Acolyte and Ahsoka and whatever this Star Wars Tales of the Jedi thing is, and the Taika Waititi movie and Rogue Squadron. Don't waste half an hour talking about stuff that we can talk about in another panel the next day. Like, give us some meat on that.
Amen. Yeah, I would like to get a little bit more information on The Acolyte, and I would love to get an update on where the Lando show is. I mean, that's one that's Lando just show. Never talked about, right? Like most people, I think, probably just forget that it's even happening. And that would be a really fun reveal, is to get Donald Glover come out on stage and talk about it. And I would just live for that. Do
you think Kathy Kennedy will be at this panel?
Yeah.
I mean, LA is where the stars live. I know she probably lives in San Francisco just because it's where Lucasfilm is. But I just assume
she came all the way to Chicago.
Oh, yeah, of course. And she's rich. She can go anywhere. She just gets on a plane. Come on, Kathy. Not to say that she doesn't turn up to things. She always turns up. But I never really thought about that. We've just started watching. We're about halfway through season 2 of Russian Doll on Netflix at the moment. And
nice. That's about where I'm at, too. I think I might have 2 episodes left of the show.
Oh, which is just great. Get what's her name in Natasha Leon in Star Wars. Oh, what is this? A starship? That's my impression.
I see a droid role potentially for her. I feel like that could be a thing.
I mean, that would be the logical one because she's so unique that if you put her in Star Wars, that's all you can think about. But at the same time, I like that idea. Put her in the Acolyte, she'd be in the Jedi Council. She's just what are you talking about? What is this? Huh? The dark side? You're crazy. Just do it. Why not? I love that show. So I'm the Acolyte. Really, I really want to know more about that. Just give us something.
Same.
Something. Bring him out. And then obviously the Taika Waititi one. I'm a big Taika Waititi fan. Any nugget of information or something would be nice.
Yeah, exactly. I assume you've already seen all of Our Flag Means Death. I'm only about 4 or 5 episodes into it now.
I'm about 3 or 4 in as well. Just because we had school holidays, life got in the way. I got COVID. The TV watching got put to the side. Although I did watch a funny clip of Taika Waititi that he filmed himself stealing grapes from Sam Neill's vineyard. Sam Neill from Jurassic Park. And he's like, I got some grapes in Sam Neill's vineyard. They're not too bad, actually. They're delicious.
I love that for him.
That was pretty funny. Excuse me, I've just got a bit of a cough here. What about Rogue Squadron? Where are you at with that?
It's been so hot and cold of whether or not it's even still happening. I feel like I've got whiplash from it. So
it's supposed to be out next year.
Yeah, and it was, I don't want to say I'm not excited for it. Of all of the different, Star Wars movies and all of the different media that we're going to be getting here in the next coming years, that's not really my number one, but I imagine I'll be surprised and I'll end up really liking it. But yeah, for me at this point, I'm just kind of like, I'm just like not even going to keep the faith that it's even happening. I just keep waiting for the other shoe to drop with it. And they're just like, nah, we're scrapping it.
I mean, if it's not remarked upon, that'll be a big red flag. If they kind of get to the end of it, and I mean, that's the thing. Like, if they get to the end of this thing and there's no mention of, like you said, Lando, there's no mention of Rogue Squadron. Like, I think the Taika Waititi one seems to be on track. At least he's mentioned it. I think there'll be a few people going like, oh, I think these might have been quietly.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, look what they've done with the Rian Johnson trilogy that was announced, and we have not heard a single thing. I know.
LA
and
boy,
I know that
he should be front and center.
Well, he's all about that. The Knives Out movies that he's doing, and I don't know if he initially planned on that being a trilogy, but like now it's sounding like it's a trilogy, so I'm sure that's going to keep him busy for at least the next few years. But I wish that we could get him back to get moving on some Star Wars stuff.
If they brought him out, and he was, even if he just came out and was like, "Hi, it's coming. I can't say when, but it's coming." That's all you need to know.
Yeah,
like
I know. That's all I need.
It's weird because he's such a Star Wars fan that he would probably just go because he likes Star Wars, but his presence would be just disruptive if you can't put him there in official capacity. If someone was just like, I think I just saw Rian Johnson like on the floor. Although he had a face mask on, but he had a T-shirt that said, "It's me, Rian Johnson, director of The Last Jedi." That would be amazing. But
but I think you would also you wouldn't want to bring Rian Johnson out on stage and as a surprise, because I feel like there's too many Star Wars fans that would boo, which I feel bad.
I don't know.
I hate that. But I say that, and nobody did it for Kathleen Kennedy at 2019, and I was kind of surprised, honestly, because I feel like there's so many haters on the internet. But I always have to remind myself, a lot of times those people don't go to Celebration. Celebration is a positive fan experience, and if you're a piece of garbage fan that just spews hate on the internet, you're probably not going to Celebration. And
there's a vaccine mandate, which is probably going to cull off you.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah, God, get RJ on there. I would like it if he just turned up at a peripheral event or something like that. Like my friend Steele Saunders, he does an event on the Saturday night, which is a pretty loose thing. If he just, Rian Johnson just turned up for a few beers, and even if he was very just I don't know, I can't talk about anything, great. Someone drop him a message. He's on Twitter. I tagged him in a t-shirt, just Dodgers t-shirt design that I did, and I got nothing, unsurprisingly. But, if you're listening, Ryan, I'll make you a free t-shirt, and you can have it if you come to Celebration. And drop a scoop of the podcast.
The offer's out there.
Offers out there, mate. I'm just scrolling through what else we've got. All right, Lucasfilm Publishing. This is your Jimmy Jam. This is where it's at.
Yep.
What do you want to see? Where are you at? High Republic? It's all about the High Republic?
It's all about the High Republic for me right now. So I'm sort of on the fence about how I feel about the whole phase 1 or phase 2 thing going back in time. I'll come around. I'll like it when it finally comes out. But at the moment, I'm just but I already love these characters and I want to spend more time with them. And you're telling me that phase 3 is probably over a year away. I'm you can't do that to me, man. I want to get back to them. So
they got you on the hook.
Exactly. Yeah. You got me on the hook and now you're just changing the timeline. What is that? But also it's fine. I love these, I love these 5 authors that did all of the phase 1 stuff. And I think it'll be really fun just to get to sit and watch them talk about Star Wars, because any panel that they do, any of these, High Republic show interviews that they do, they're just so fun and so enthusiastic and so clearly love what they're doing. So it's just fun to hear them talk about it.
And you get a very I honestly don't have time to do the books and things, so I live vicariously through you guys and people like Tom Chansky and stuff who read all the books and report, and although I sort of get this thing of I get the level of excitement without getting spoiled too much because I eventually want to get there to them. But I mean, something like a book panel, I think that's a good thing about those. It's a big panel because it's still a big part of Star Wars, but everybody who goes to those panels is really bought in. Like you were saying about the galaxies, but I don't know if they'll boo, because you're just going to get people well, I just want to go because it talks about the movies and stuff, and and I've got opinions. But the book people are a bit more nah, man, I'm here for the books and I'm down. I love them books and I love those panelists.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and I think that'll be fun. I mean, it's going to be great to be able to see all of the High Republic cosplay, because it's just, it's a little bit more, I think, I don't even know what the right word is, because there's
Refined?
not a ton of like there's not a ton of like reference material to go off of when it comes to like making the costumes, like,
So
or maybe there, I mean, there's a little bit. So yeah, you're a little bit more free to sort of kind of do creatively whatever you want to do.
You haven't got
I'm excited for that.
Some guy with a stick up his butt going, that stormtrooper thing buckle isn't correct. You are struck off the costuming.
Well, I mean, that's a whole thing though. It's like with the 501st and the Rebel Legion, it's like your costumes have to get like approved, and it's like this strict process. And with the High Republic, it's like you can't do that. You know, there's not really anything to go off of in terms of like what is the Pantone color of the yellow that's on the front of their formal robes. Like it just, I don't know. So I'm excited to see what people.
You've got to start like, you know, you and your High Republic cronies or your mates or however you want to call it. You've got to start some ground rules now, because eventually there will be some live action High Republic. Like it's going to come. You know,
well, there's going to be a reference book too. Like later this year, there is supposed to be a reference book that comes out.
So right now,
that
you've got to get
some
rules. You got to start these costuming things going like, hey man, even if we get some solid references, it's all about interpretation. It's all about how you feel. There are no right or wrong. You know, to a degree, you can't. You know, you get something that's completely off. You know, but you got to start. You got to start from the ground up and establish those rules. Otherwise, you know, in 3 years' time, you'll be talking about like, oh man, the High Republic cosplayers are the worst, because it's just like. The headband isn't quite right, and the thing, and when they did that show, and oh my god, and what happened?
Yeah, but no, this is a good time, I think, for people to be a little bit more creative.
Did I see a photo of you in a costume online?
You know, I just can't get fully on board with anything cosplay related, because too often there's just way too many layers of clothing. I run so hot and I'm just like sweating all the time. And the High Republic Jedi in particular are like covered in 146 layers of clothing at all times. So I just could never. But I love the idea of doing like a sort of like, you know, the whole Disney bounding concept is like sort of inspired by cosplay, and so it's a little bit more loosey-goosey. And so I made one of the like the diadem like gold headbands for Avar Chris, and I've been trying to source materials for like months trying to make this thing, and I just can't find anything that looks the way that I want it to look. So I'm just like, piece of super glue, chop up a bracelet, stick that little gem on there, and that's the best I can do for now.
Nice. Just like these High Republic people wear shorts. So
exactly. That's my
how
plan.
They roll. Singlets and shorts in the High Republic. Cool. Well, that's exciting. I probably won't be at the book one just because I'm not a huge book person and I can live vicariously through you guys. But I always like seeing. I mean, I love that it like it's a whole new era of Star Wars. It's like the possibilities are endless, and it doesn't have the baggage of everything else, which is just like great. Like I'm all for that. The Attack of the Chords, the music of episode 2, David W. Collins, I'll definitely try to get to. I went to the episode 1. I'm on a real Attack of the Clones thing at the moment. Like I know it's the anniversary, and I've done some like tie-in t-shirt designs through the podcast and stuff, and I was supposed to do a Attack of the Clones sort of mini podcast panel at a fan event in Melbourne a few weeks ago, and I got COVID and I couldn't go, which was a bit of a bummer. But I started sort of immersing myself, and I think because it's the anniversary and because it was filmed in Australia, I think there's this weird sort of connection to it. Yeah, so I'm really sort of like, ooh, anything that's Attack of the Clones related, I'm sort of down. So the music one will be always good. David W. Collins always does well. He's sort of like the what's the reference I'm trying to... the reference I had for him last time at Celebration, where he kind of pops up everywhere. He's kind of like the mascot of Star Wars Celebration. Him and Warwick Davis. And they just like kind of add everything.
I heard nothing but good things about that Phantom Menace music panel that he did in 2019, so I can imagine that this is going to be so much even more hyped up because that went over so well, number one. And number two, the music in Attack of the Clones, I think, is like the best of all of the Star Wars films. Like you get those beautiful, like sweeping themes. Yeah. And I think that'll be really fun for him to sort of dig into a lot of those. So that'll be a good one to go.
Absolutely. What else we got? We've got an audience with the Emperor, with Ian McDiarmid, who I think is probably going to pop up in a few things. Can't get rid of Ian McDiarmid these days, can you really? It's like, no, for a guy who's everywhere. He's sort of played the Emperor and then did nothing to do with Star Wars for like 30 years and then popped back up. He's sort of, every couple of years they find something for him to do, which is good. He's sort of like the older, less annoying Anthony Daniels.
Oh, we were both thinking it.
I know. I always brag on poor Anthony Daniels. And to be honest, I think everyone who's meeting him in person says he's very nice. Some collectible stuff. So this High Republic for Light and Life, what's this all about?
That's a good question. And I think that's where we're going to dive into a lot of the phase 1 stuff that's coming. So as much as I want it to be, we're going to dive into the phase 2 stuff. And as much as I want it to all be all about phase 1 and just like dissecting some of these characters and mourning the ones that we lost, because we did lose quite the body count at the end of phase 1 is quite high. I think it'll be a lot more like, let's introduce these new characters that we're going to be getting in phase 2 when we're going back 150 years in time. But that's just my guess.
And that's hosted by Christina Ariel, who is on the beanie list. She's requested a beanie. So
cool.
Hopefully I'll run into her rather than being like trying to DM her and go, is there some sort of security fence that I can pass this over to you on? But
good question.
We've got some Star Wars Lego, which I've actually been playing at the moment. Some video game stuff, Lucasfilm Publishing. What's the difference between Lucasfilm Publishing and the books one? Or is it the same one?
There's publishing
there's
stories from
far,
from far away, and then there's behind the page. So I'm not sure totally what the difference is going to be, but I'm excited to hopefully be able to. Actually, I may miss this behind the page one because the panel that I'm on is at 1:30 on Friday.
I was going to bring that up.
It's going to be cutting it close.
So you're on the is it the Ray panel? Talking about Ray?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. How Ray defined a new Star Wars generation. And it's me and like 4 other ladies and Andres Cabrera. So it'll be great.
That's awesome. I'm going to try to get to that because Ray's a big deal at our house, having 2 girls.
Oh, yay.
So,
it'll be great to see you there.
Yeah. I'll try and get down. I'll be like, woo, go panels. We got the Hasbro panel. Maybe I can ask a question about why it's like $60 for a Black Series figure in Australia, but Oof. I'm sure they'll pass the buck on to somebody else. I stopped collecting them because I'm just like, I don't need a $60 Walrus Man. Thanks very much.
Yeah,
I think I'll be okay on that.
It's a little much.
Kind of make a decent looking Poe Dameron.
Love it.
You just get there's ones with these freaky faces. The Disney Parks one. Did you go to the Disney Parks one last time?
I think I did. Maybe is that where they handed out the like Coca-Cola bottles or something?
I think so, the Galaxy's Edge one. Yeah.
I don't remember honestly. I don't think I did.
Really stuck with you.
I think I went to it in 2017 because there was like back in 2017 it was like, oh, we're doing a Disney Star Wars theme park, like it's going to be great. Here's some renderings of what it's going to look like. And I think maybe that's what I'm getting confused about because I don't think I went to the parks one.
Yeah, I think the other one was more just like, this is what this looks like and this looks like. And if you're into parks, great. But I think everybody, because everybody just wanted to get on because it was one of the tentpole panels. That's like, it's like going back because talking about, people poo-pooing some of the panels, like Phantom Menace, that Mandalorian and Episode 9 were the 4 tentpole panels last time, and then this time it's all the future filmmaking, Mandalorian, Attack of the Clones, and then there's no Friday morning panel yet. They haven't announced it whether there is one. So there's no sort of like 11:30 Friday.
Yeah,
which is a bit weird. Maybe there isn't anything, but that just seems a bit strange that they've just left that.
Oh, that's crazy. I didn't even notice that there isn't like a big panel that's been announced yet. That's crazy.
Yeah, so the first one is
there will be something.
Because the first one's at 12:30, which is the Summer of Star Wars Lego. I think it's a celebration stage. Maybe I'm wrong. So yeah, hang on. Is the Galaxy stage the big stage? It is, isn't it? No. Celebration stage, I think, is the big stage. So there's nothing on the celebration stage yet.
Got it.
You would think that they would have something up their sleeve. So I mean, maybe they're just saying, hey, just hang on a sec. Okay, so we've got the Hasbro, Disney Parks, Star Tours, tabletop games. We're sort of getting into so there's the Mando conversation with Favs and Filoni. Again, this seems weird. Like, why wouldn't you just drop all your Mando news on this one?
So is this the Mando Plus one?
Yeah, this is Mando Plus. This is Filoni and Fav, I guess, talking about all the stuff they couldn't talk about at the last celebration, perhaps. Hey, look, bring Baby Yoda
Yeah.
out on that stage. Like, somehow get a little animatronic Baby Yoda to walk out, and you've sold me.
Oh, I feel like they have to, right? Like, I feel like they absolutely have to do that.
At the least. I'm surprised
That's
he's
all
not
I'm
doing
there for.
photos or something.
So I'm kind of wondering if this like Mando Plus thing is going to be like, you know, how they had originally talked about how Mandalorian and Rangers of the New Republic and Ahsoka were all going to like culminate in this big storytelling event. And I wonder if this is going to be sort of an update on that. So it's going to include some Ahsoka stuff too. I'm not really sure what to expect. I would like to go to this one. I mean, this is like of all the panels that like the big panels that are happening first thing in the morning on all the days, this is probably the one I would be most interested in going to.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know whether they'll show anything. And then they're doing the behind the scenes of the Mando Book of Boba Fett sort of after. Haven't heard anything about Tamara Morrison turning up, actually, which is weird because he's turned up at a few panels in like a few cons in Australia. So, I mean, I know he probably lives either in Australia or New Zealand. That's a less of a travel. But I saw some like article on an Australian newspaper website the other day saying, "Oh, Book of Boba Fett star looking for a house on the Gold Coast," which is like in Queensland, in Australia and stuff. So I'm like, oh, okay. Well, he must be. That's probably why he went to the Gold Coast convention because he lives there.
Yeah,
get him up here. It's not that far a flight. Tim,
I can't imagine that he wouldn't be there. You know, I feel like he would have. He'll probably show up. Maybe
and
for whatever reason.
He's never been hotter. Yeah, like come on.
Yeah. Now's the time, man.
Now's the time, man. So we've got the cosplay competition, and then we've got this Tales of the Jedi thing, which was accidentally they kind of leaked by mistake, which is this new, whatever this is an animated anthology shorts on the celebration stage. So whatever this is the thing that was like it was on like a piece of Lucasfilm kit of like merch. That's how the logo.
Yeah, I think it was like the Christmas card or something that Lucasfilm sent out to people. Maybe had it.
I've got a friend of mine in London, my friend Jen, who's been on this podcast. She used to work for the BFI, which is the British Film Institute, and she worked with Lucasfilm on a program where they would put people from different backgrounds on sets because it was always like an inside who you knew to get on set. So she worked with them, and I think she definitely did Rise of Skywalker, maybe Last Jedi, and I think she did Andor. She's just left Lucasfilm. I think she's working for Warner's now, but she had a photo like on her Instagram of her like going away, like leaving thing, and she had a Lucasfilm, one of those record players that had the logos on the thing, so they gave her one of those. So okay. And it had the logos on the side of it, so cool gift. Problem is I badger her to come on the podcast. She's just like, I can't say this, I can't say it. Like they make me sign a thing that's like this, like I've got to sign a waiver that's like this thick, so I can't say anything about anything. And she went the podcast once, and I think that was maybe before Rise of Skywalker, maybe after Last Jedi. And even then she could really just talk about the program and not what she saw and where she went and all that stuff. But she had been in a room with Kathy Kennedy, which was quite exciting. She was very
neat.
Nice. So that was pretty neat. What else we got here? We've got Doug Chang coming in, design The Mandalorian. We've got the comic stuff. Do you cover all the comics as well? Is that sort of just part of your training?
No. So
we're too far.
When it comes to comics, at least like on the podcast, Alice and I are pretty like we kind of pick and choose what we want to read. And more often than not, we're not reading the comics. But with the High Republic, I read those and loved them. Alice was reading the High Republic adventure comics for a little bit. And in terms of trivia stuff, that doesn't generally come into play. I mean, with the Schmodown, it's all strictly movies. But it's really the matter of like, reading the comics and reading the books a lot of times like reinforces some of the movie trivia stuff. So it helps, but it's not required.
Has that, like, just to get back on the trivia, like, has the Disney Plus shows, does that fall under that now? Does that make it harder just because now all of a sudden there's like 8 hours of content as opposed to 2 hours of movie?
No, it does. Fortunately, none of that has come into play, although they did just do an exhibition match, like a special one-off where they did all Star Wars TV, like all series, and there was no movie stuff in it, I don't think. So I'll be curious to watch that. Somebody sent me the link for it. I just haven't gotten a chance to watch it yet. But, the annoying thing is that every time I go on any kind of Schmodown related show, people are always just like, would you be okay if they like started doing the TV stuff in the the movie trivia Schmodown like categories for Star Wars, and I'm always just like, no, like I already have enough I have to study. Like there's so much stuff you can dive into with these movies that you haven't even asked questions on and that you don't even focus on. I'm like, don't be bringing in TV stuff to this yet. That's the most annoying part.
But it would almost double. Like there's probably enough. What is there? 2 seasons of Mandalorian and a season of Book of Boba Fett now. So that's already, 15 hours of stuff. It's almost the movie's doubled of stuff all of a sudden.
Yes. Exactly. Who wants that? Like, who's out here voting yes for that? The answer's no.
So we don't do Clone Wars. We don't do Rebels.
Exactly.
Oh man, that could be the spanner in the works, isn't it? That could really throw maybe that's what the snap quiz will be.
That's the pop quiz, exactly.
Right. Not only is it a pop quiz, it's everything. You're like, oh man, I can't keep up with this anymore. All right, we've got a panel with Anthony Daniels, of course. IMC3PO, probably some amusing anecdotes on that, and I'm sure, like, if you haven't seen it or you don't know much stuff, I think it'd probably be worth it. So we've got Bad Batch season 2. That's one of the celebrations. So that's actually that's the 11 o'clock on the Sunday. So a very good chance there'll be an episode, I reckon, on that.
Yeah, I would hope so. I mean, since we were supposed to originally get it in the spring, I imagine at least some of it's queued up and ready to go. So, and the fact that it'll be streaming in these 2 other stages, I think is a good clue that we'll be getting at least the first episode.
Well, we went to the what was it? The Resistance panel, I think, at Chicago. And they did the first episode for that. So
I went to that.
Everyone remember Resistance? Did you leave early? You're like, I've said enough.
I was just like, I'm good. I don't need to be here. I don't think
this won't be in the quiz.
Yeah,
there'll be no questions about this.
Nope, I'm out.
I can move on. We got to look back at Star Wars Visions. I quite enjoy Star Wars Visions, and there's a rumor that it's coming back, so that would be good a chance for them to get into that.
Yeah.
Wonderful World of Wookiees. Everyone loves Wookiees. The Siege of Mandalore screening.
That's going to be an interesting one. I mean, is this supposed to be like I don't know, what's the thing called where they like there's commentary over the show? I'm like blanking on the name of it right now. Mystery Science Theater. It's gonna be like that where they're just like talking.
Oh, where they just sort of like chat over the top.
Yeah, I have a feeling that's what this is going to be because I'm just like, why are we screening this like on the celebration stage of all things? And we're not,
because Dave Filoni and there's people who are actually going to. All right, yeah. Well, that makes sense. I don't know. That'd be kind of, yeah. I mean, I like a good director's commentary, but I'm in the headspace of like, all right, I'm watching a director's commentary. If it's just going to be like watching it, and then every like 3 or 4 minutes, Dave Filoni was like, "Yeah, we had a real time trying to animate that." And just like, dude, you're interrupting just enough where it's making me not be able to follow it, and not talking enough for me to find it interesting. But
I know, and that's why, like, they do the director commentaries, and then they can edit them and find that perfect balance. And I'm like, when you're doing it on the fly, I'll be curious to see how that goes.
Have you ever done a commentary track for a Star Wars thing before?
I have once. I did one for Attack of the Clones on Alden Diaz's show, the Octo Radio podcast, and
nice.
It was really fun. My role in that was like pop in and drop some trivia tidbits every now and then, and I played my role very well. So I'd go back and. I should go back and listen to that because it's been like at least a couple of years since we've done that.
Yeah, I've done a few commentary tracks just through the podcast with friends, and it's always fun. Like I've done, ones where you kind of rig it all up online and you're watching off a window, and then I've done ones where you've got some friends and we all live in the same city, and they come around and you've got the microphones in hand and you've got the TV on, which I find is a little bit more fun. But yeah, they're always good. They're I don't know if anybody's. Who's listening to a commentary track really? But someone's listening. They always seem to download all right, so someone's doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Behind the scenes, Creatures of the Return of the Jedi. I will actually try to do that. I'm a Return of the Jedi kid. I'm a little bit older than you and most people, so I saw Return of the Jedi in the cinema. Thing,
I need to go through that one. I'd go to that one for trivia purposes. Like that's the one I need to be in, like sit and take notes.
Will you actually get trivia about? Like creatures' names, not like who was the person who made them and stuff. Or does it go that far?
No, it doesn't. No, it's not like who was the puppeteer that ran the Jabba's arm in Return of the Jedi. Like it's not none of the stuff like that.
And stuff like that. And
yeah, they'll be like, hey, that random like drummer in the background, like what species is he? And it's like, well, he's a Weequay, and that's all I need to know. So that is about the extent of it.
Yep. Do they like if they do something like trivia on Return of the Jedi? will they do special edition only or both? Do you have to be versed in the language of both?
So generally,
is that how they try to throw you off?
No, thank God, no. But they do
a standard.
They usually do like, whatever's available on Disney Plus, like that's the standard that they're going to go off of.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So much I don't know about this world. What
sucked though for a while is like there wasn't anywhere that you could stream the Clone Wars movie, which is one of the movies that they will ask us questions about in the Schmodown. And there was a short period of time where like it wasn't on Netflix anymore and Disney Plus hadn't come out. And so you better believe I own a DVD of it and I've like sat and watched it with commentary on and everything to like take notes. But that was annoying for a while that one you had to really go out of your way to find it.
You had to go to a flea market and buy it off some
soul
who
eBay.
bought it. Yeah, of course. Yeah, my partner's families, they got a house down the beach over Easter, and they've got like a nice lounge upstairs, and downstairs there's like a lounge for the kids to go around and run amok. And there's like an old big TV there. It's not a smart TV or anything, so we've got a DVD player. So I went and got some cheap DVDs, like $1 at the market here, good stuff, like Pixar things. And put, first just showing a kid who's never seen a DVD before, just looking at it, they're going like, what is this? And like putting it in and then like playing it and they're going, all right, well, why is it starting? I'm like, well, we've got to sit through the piracy warning. And, and a lot of them don't let you skip anything. So like, all right, we've got to sit through this. And here's the trailers for the next Barbie movie that's coming out. We've got to sit through that. And oh man, it was so like, even I, and I lived through the VHS onto DVD, onto Blu-ray, onto everything. Even I was going like, is this how we used to put up with things?
I know, right? Imagine when you had to like rewind things, like you physically had to sit there and hit rewind on. God, those were the days. Kids will never know. They'll never know.
Well, that was the thing. It just blew their minds. They couldn't handle it. And then finally, it's just like, I'm sick. So I can't handle this. This is too much. The celebration closing ceremony. You ever been to a closing ceremony?
Yeah, I went to the one in 2019, and it really, the only big thing that comes out of it is like the revelation of where and when the next one's happening. And beyond that, I'm like, then immediately goes on Twitter and people are talking about it. So it's like, I didn't get much out of it. I don't feel much need to attend it. I would rather be able to like spend the time like hanging out, those last hours hanging out with friends.
It's an hour and a half long. Like, what have they got to say?
Oh, really? It looks like, it's only an hour.
An hour. Sorry.
But you're right. Like what,
even
a
an
lot
hour
of times
seems
I think
long.
I think they're doing like a lot of times they're showing like videos kind of like recapping, like relive the Star Wars Celebration memories. I'm like, I just lived it like an hour ago. I don't need to relive it. I've still got the
headache. I've still got the hangover. Is the celebration highlight me getting home at 2 a.m. after drinking too much and trying to find a burrito at 2:30 in the morning?
Yeah, exactly. That's in the video.
Where's that on the celebration stage? Yeah, that'll be the thing. Like, it's also, for us particularly who are overseas, going like, where's this thing going to end up next? That was the crazy thing at Chicago was that we sort of had this huge trip getting all the way over to Chicago and had this great time, and then being told at the end of a year later, even though it wasn't a year later, but a year later, supposedly it was going to happen again. We had to sort of go, all right, well, I guess we're mentally gearing up to go through all this again and do it. Like now it's been so different because we've been delayed for so long. It'll be really weird that if they actually turn around and go, oh yeah, next year we're coming back. I kind of see no reason why they won't, just because they have so much content every year now.
Yeah, exactly.
It would kind of be weird if they didn't.
Yeah, is it easier for you guys to get to Europe from down under? Is it like any easier to get to like Asia or even, I guess, London is where they did 2016, right?
Yeah, London. I lived in London for about eight or 9 years. So I used to fly back most Christmases, not every Christmas. And that's about a 24-hour flight, roughly.
Wow.
And you got to change over as well, in Dubai or somewhere along those lines. So it's a mission to get there and back. LA's about 12 hours, I think. And it's direct, so you don't have to change. So it's not terrible, but it's that thing where you leave Tuesday night and you arrive Tuesday night, and then you leave Tuesday night and arrive Thursday morning back in Australia. Like you lose a whole day of your life. It just goes. Look, it's far from everything. Like Japan is closer. It's probably a 10-hour direct flight, so that's probably
Okay.
more doable as far as the flight. But it's just long. We sort of assume it'll be long anyway. Europe is probably trickier. And it depends. Like in America, like I had to fly to LA last time, and then I had to get on a plane and go to Chicago anyway. So I had to sort of do that. I think I ended up being awake for 36 hours by the time I went to bed in Chicago. By the time I'd left my house and got all the way to LA, and then got on the flight, and then landed in the afternoon, got to the house, hung out, went around, visited some people. Then we went out to a bar that night. Good
Lord.
But then I was on the by the time I slept, it was the morning, so I'd forced myself onto the time zone. But yeah, like unless it's actually in Australia, it's going to be far.
It's brutal for you guys no matter what, man. Oh, that's rough. That's real rough.
But that's all right. That's that's the pain that you put so you can hang out with your friends. So I'm hoping that we'll probably do a proper hangout and have a beer and do whatever. I know everyone will be off doing their own things, but I think it'll be, there'll be a lot more mingling, I think, because everything's a bit closer together. I think it'll be outside more. There'll be more sort of just like, oh, hey, doing that,
Exactly.
So, yeah, can't wait.
Same here. I'm just excited to be able to see people again. It's going to be great. I'm disappointed that Alice isn't coming, but it'll be so nice just to get to like see some people in person. I mean, like I went out to Brooklyn for a Schmodown event, and like getting to see and hang out with a lot of those people just for like the 1-2 days that I was there was just like a breath of fresh air. It was so fun. And this is going to be like 5 days of that. So it's going to be great.
I'm bummed that I can't show Alice my impression of her that I've been working on as well, but it's just a bit of a bummer. Which is just a, yeah.
that sounds right. That's perfect.
Yeah, that's about right. But I don't know. Hopefully she can live vicariously through everybody else and have a good time. But right, before we sign off here, you do lots of stuff. Tell everybody about all the stuff you do, where to find you, all those things, how to spot you at Celebration if you want to be spotted.
I do want to be spotted, but I'll be the tall blonde in the mask. So good luck to you. But I will be there, and I'm just, oh God, I'm so pumped. But if you want to come find me on Twitter and Instagram, my handle is @shutup_Laura, and I'm much more active on Twitter, so probably hit me up there. But the show that I host with John Roca on his channel on the Outlaw Nation is called The Jedi Way, where we just talk about a sort of big picture Star Wars concept. Alice and I host Forced Toast to Star Wars Happy Hour, where we drink wine and talk about Star Wars. We tend to get more into book stuff over on that show. And those are kind of the two main things. You can come find me at Celebration at Friday at 1:30 local time at the Ray panel. So that'll be fun on the fan stage.
It's always nice to see Twitter handle "Shut Up, Laura" like on an official kind of looking.
Oh, yay! Yep, that's good. It's one of those that I modeled off of like a writer who worked on the show 30 Rock. Like his handle was "Shut Up, Lutz,"
one of my
and I was like, oh, I like that.
Shows.
Same here. So I went with that, and that it just stuck.
Has one of my favorite all-time jokes where Hannibal Buress is the homeless guy, and they're walking through the stairwell, and he's like, "Get a room," whatever that is. That's how it's.
Oh, that show is so good.
So good. Awesome. Well, so good to chat to you, mate, and awesome to get to chat to you in a couple of weeks. Thanks to everybody who's downloading the podcast. It's nice to sort of be doing it on the regular again. There are some new shirt designs on TeePublic. Thanks to everybody who's been buying those. There's a Dodgers one now. For all the people who complain that we did an Angels one, there wasn't a Dodgers one, so you got no excuse anymore. And I've actually got the Obi-Wan Kenobi Minnesota Vikings mashup one that got pulled down back up. So if you wanted it, you can get it until it gets pulled down again, because some people like that design. And I might actually turn that into a pin if I get time. So there might be a few pins, but that just depends on time. So, thank you so much, Laura.
Thanks for having me, Josh. This is great.
We'll see you soon.